Welcome to the Woodturning Workshop. If you joined us last week, you saw our good friend Wayne Furr show us several different ways to take full advantage of wood grain when you make a bowl. Well, we're going to continue that thought today, and our buddy Larry Elizondo is going to show us how to make a natural edge bowl using some of those techniques. And the other thing, Larry has a really cool shop. No, over there. Stay tuned.
Man.
Hi, Larry. I thought I'd come by and surprise you.
Am I supposed to be surprised?
I know, when you haul this lumpy thing around, oh, sorry, Brian, you know, nobody is surprised. Hey, I appreciate you letting us in your shop today. This is really going to be cool.
Did I have a choice?
Probably not. Larry is a great guy. He's an excellent wood turning teacher. And he's been turning for quite a while, and he's got a supreme shop. I love it. But first off, tell us, how'd you get started turning?
Well, you know, I took a class over at that school, and I wanted to conquer my fear of the curve. And so I decided to take a cabriole leg class. And of course, there's nothing but curves on a cabriole leg.
Right.
But guess what? I had to turn the bottom.
So the first time you ever turned was on this. This is your first project ever?
This is my first project.
And that was the extent of the turning?
That was the extent of the turning.
But it's enough to hook you?
I was hooked. I have never gone back and built another piece of furniture since.
Really?
I'm serious.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, because I admire you because you can do flat wood, but when I do flat wood, it scares me to death.
Well, you know, what can I say? We got to face our fears.
Well, speaking of flat wood, you have a really well organized shop, so show it to us because you put a lot of thought into this.
Well, you know, it wasn't that hard to do. When you stop to think about the flow of a piece of furniture and how you start with the flat boards, that, you know, want to just drop them off here. You know, cut them off the rough size with the.
So you're coming in through
a garage door. That's right, a garage door.
Yeah.
And lay them out here on the floor and cut them to rough size. Run them through the planer. Come around by the joiner. Get a straight edge. Come down the table saw, then come back and finish cut them for their final building and then ultimate assembly.
So you have a full flow. It comes in, goes here, goes there, comes here, comes back, and then boom.
We're back.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
And you said you don't do furniture anymore.
I don't. I actually do build, you know, stuff for my shop. You know, hold. You know, around a wood turning shop, you got to build cabinets and you got to build all kinds of stuff like that. So I still use a lot of those same skills, but. You know, I'm just not into furniture. I like it round.
Well, speaking of round, let's get to turning and start on our project.
Let's get going.
Okay.
You know, the cool thing, Tim, about natural edge bowls is looking at how the bowl is oriented in the tree, in the wood. And looking at the growth rings gives you the best indication of how that's laid out.
Yeah, because right here's the pith of the tree, the center.
Right.
And then you see the rings running like this, and they run like that.
Right.
And so this is facing in, and this is facing out, and then obviously this edge right there is the outside of the tree.
And that's why it's called a natural edge.
That's pretty cool. And on this one, it doesn't have all the bark on it, right? Or anywhere.
Well, actually, this one does. Billy, this is sycamore. And it has, if you recall, you know, sycamore is just kind of a light-colored bark.
Right. So it doesn't have a lot of character to it. Right. But what wood is this?
This is Bradford pear.
Wow.
Good old simple Bradford pear.
Now that's cool. I mean, this is gorgeous, the way the bark stayed on that, and it looks really nice. You also did something that Wayne was talking about in our last show. You centered the growth ring for a focal point on the piece.
That's correct.
And that's really cool because if you don't pay attention to it, I've got another example over here you have, right?
That's correct.
This one right here is really cool because this is a piece, one of your first pieces you did, right?
The first.
The first. You notice how low that is right there. If we turn it around, look how high that is there. So you had it off a little bit when you turned it. It's a neat effect though.
Right.
And you can do it for effect, but if you look in the center, that's not centered. So you can do anything you want and make any look you want. You just pay attention to it though.
Absolutely.
What other things you have to think about when you're making a natural edge bowl?
Well, I think you have to be careful that while it's turning, unlike a flat rim bowl, you're cutting air half the time.
Right, because you've got big wings spinning around and you're coming in like this. And
that's correct.
You see this and you don't see that.
But you know, there is something that's a little bit easier about turning a natural edge bowl is you know how we have to gauge wall thickness.
Right.
Okay. Well, because we got half air, half wood, we
Yep.
can watch that gouge cut and really gauge our thickness.
Yeah, that's a really cool point. And in a little bit, we're going to show a really cool technique, because how do you put this on the lathe when you're turning this to finish it up? Larry's got something cool to show us. Yeah, because that's exactly it. Look, no bottom. It's nice and smooth. This is going to be something we've never done before on the wood turning workshop, and I can't wait to show you. But first, we've got to get started on cutting the blank out, right?
That's correct.
Okay, let's go to your bandsaw.
Let's go.
Now, Larry, in our last show, Wayne showed us how to prepare our bull blank with a chainsaw, which was kind of fun. But you're going to show us how to use your bandsaw, right?
Absolutely. And you know, Tim, the principle is exactly the same. You've got to orient the wood. You've got to be safe, hence
Yeah.
the wedges here.
That keeps it from rolling.
Right, keep it from rolling away, twisting and breaking bandsaw blades. By the way, safety,
Yeah.
you've got to put these on. Now, I guarantee you they're cool. I have 2 daughters. They may ensure everything here is cool.
Oren should take a lesson from you. Those yellow ones he had me put on last time were pretty ugly. Ooh,
I
they're
think you look pretty
bifocal
good.
too.
Yeah.
Wow, I see
Hey,
myself.
Look
That's
cool.
nice.
On your, I'm sorry.
Yeah, watch out for the glare. Okay, go ahead.
So we want to take into consideration the pith. We want to make sure we cut the pith away. Obviously, you know that's a danger area. We
Right.
want to try to orient the ring so it's semi-symmetrical, but by the same token, we're limited by what we can do. But you know, we can always correct it on the lathe.
Right. Yeah.
So I've drawn a line here as a guide. We've got the runners here, and let's just rip this log in half.
Okay, and you have a cool setup too. It's going to get a little noisy. You got
it's
your
gonna get a
dust
little
collector hooked up.
That's right. We're going to turn on the dust collector first. Ready? 1, 2,
Okay.
3. And now let's turn on the saw. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're powered up.
I'm happy.
All right. Arr, arr, arr. And we're through, right down the middle.
Wow. Very nice. You're not kidding. This is a little bit dry.
Yeah, and you notice we cut right down the middle. We hit the pith right smack dab center.
Oh, you're good.
Okay,
Okay. Well, what's
So,
our next step with it?
Tim, let's pick out which piece we want to use.
Okay. Sorry.
So let's
Dropped
look
that
at
on my
them.
foot.
Let's just take a quick look
Okay.
at them. Let's look at the grain. I mean, you can't forget what you learned last time.
Right. Now, this one, the pith is way off down here.
Right.
That one's a little more, or am I upside down?
Well,
Well, that could have been.
it's about the same.
Yeah.
It's either way. I think I like this one over here a little bit better. It's a little bit deeper. You see how it's a little bit deeper?
Yeah.
I think it'll give us a little bit more to work with.
Okay.
It's not much. I mean, we hit it pretty much dead center, but you know what? We're going to get some spalting. See
That's
that right
gonna be
there?
beautiful.
That's really going to be good. Now, we got one more step.
Right.
We got to make it round. And this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
I've made these templates, different diameters. Let's see here. Let's try this one. Oh, too big. Let's use this one.
Okay.
This one will fit.
Oh,
so
okay.
now that we determined that, let's turn
Yeah.
it over and we look at the log, and we probably want to work somewhere around the middle. So we'll set this here in the middle, kind
Oh.
of centered. We'll get us a power tool, arr, arr, arr. And we'll kind of, is that pretty centered there?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, now we'll just go ahead and
Now, is that what they call a star drive?
yeah, it is. It can be driven with a square or with a square drive or with a Phillips
And
head.
it rarely strips out. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, they're really pretty cool.
Okay.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around this, and it's going to make the whole turning process a lot easier. It's going to be more balanced on the lathe,
Right.
and it'll just make it more pleasurable.
And the other reason of this is you're on a flat on a
flat
flat,
surface.
and it
That's
won't
exactly
rock
right.
on you. Okay.
Let's get going.
So you just stay a little bit proud of it. You don't go right up
Same
against it.
distance all the way around. Okay, Tim.
Yeah.
Kind of to help this get us started on a more balanced note here.
Yeah.
We take our same template and our little punch,
Yeah.
and at least mark the center. There you go.
That's a smart thing to do.
There you go.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
So
because
we-
you start looking at this, you could get a little off. of
Yeah,
it,
and it
messes
just
the
makes
whole
things
thing
so
up.
much easier, so much faster. Let's go to the lathe.
Okay. Cool. About time.
Okay, now we got to be careful that this is going to be a natural edge bowl, which means we got to do it this way.
Right.
Okay, don't do it this way.
Yeah.
Gotta do it this way.
Don't drop it.
Okay, see, we have our little hole that marked our center prior.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Pull
from
our
on top.
tailstock over, And we'll find, lock it down, and we'll find center here. And let's just, and this is not going to be what we're going to call a hard center, because remember, in order to get this balanced, we've got to make sure that this piece of wood is centered so that the wings are going to be approximately the same height. So we look at the gap there, spin this around. Oops, we're not on center.
Way off.
So what are we going to do, Tim?
You're going to have to shift it.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll take the pressure off of here, and we have a mark over here.
Right.
We're just going to move just slightly over.
So you're just coming over maybe, 1/8 of an inch.
Maybe even that much. Okay, we'll come over here, we'll set the tool rest again, we'll spin it around. We're almost there.
Okay. And the thing is that might be off 1/4 of an inch, but since you're working in the round, you only have to move it half that distance to accomplish
That's correct.
what you
What
want.
happened is we went too far on the last one right there.
So that's really, it's only about 1/16 of an inch.
That's right, that's all it was. Okay, we set it there, we test the gap. Okay, the next step is going to be to turn the bottom. Let's get my face shield on and let's get turning.
Now, are you going to turn the bottom just like a regular bowl?
Yes, in the sense that we're going to have a gripping spigot for the chuck, but we still have to shape the outside of the bowl and form a spigot on here.
Why do I feel like you should have a spacesuit on and be breathing oxygen right now?
Well, I could. Let's turn.
I like that. Oops, let me get out of the way.
Let's turn. Tim, get out of the way.
Okay, I'm out of the way.
Now, let's just bring this thing up to speed. We're going to be turning, somewhere around 1,000 RPMs.
Okay. And you're using a swept-back bowl gouge.
1/2 inch bowl gouge with what's known as a Irish grind, and with a little bit of influence from every single turner we've had in town.
I was going to say, does that make it an Oklahoma grind?
You know, let's just call that, Tim, and then we can sell tools and get rich.
I don't think that's ever going to happen anytime soon. How's that wood cutting?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's going to be a little dry, but let's turn off the... Oh, look at that. It's turning really nicely.
Oh, the spalting is amazing.
There's going to be more spalting coming up on this.
Wow, that is cool.
Tim, I hate to do all the turning, but I will.
It's your shop, I'll let you.
You know, all my students hate to let me get my hands on the gouge because they're always afraid that if I start turning, I won't give it back to them. Imagine that. You didn't see that, Tim, did you?
No, I didn't see that. No. So basically you're roughing out the shape and you're working your way into where once you get the shape you like it, you're going to build a spigot on the end to grab in a chuck, right?
Yeah, at the same time I'm wanting to get this round to eliminate as much vibration, because once we start turning those wings, we've got to have a balanced piece to work with.
Right. Well, and the other thing too is what you're going to get is the finished outside shape before you turn it around, right?
Correct. We've got to have something to work with, but we're working our way towards that spigot.
Yeah.
And at the same time, watching the outside shape, come into form. And at some point in time, when we get the right angles, we'll stop shaping and start forming the spigot.
Okay, Larry's finished turning the bottom, and he's reversed the piece on the lathe, and it's being held in a chuck by the foot, right?
Correct.
And you just made a dimple in the wood because?
We're going to drill a hole to determine our center. Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
And we'll slow the lathe down to drilling speeds, about 250, 300 RPMs.
And what you have in your hand is a handled drill bit?
Very precise tool. Okay, with a very precise stop gauge. We've determined that this is the depth we want to go in this bowl.
Okay.
And so now we're going to create a little mark here for us. Just push slightly. Easy tool to make. Always used to be a little bit more precise. And if you don't have any holes to drill, you can bang someone over the head with it.
I like it. So what's our next step?
Next step is we're going to get to the fun part, and that's make the chips fly.
Oh, cool.
Yep, we're going to make the chip fly and hope that we did our math right.
Yeah.
Did you do very good in fractions when you were in school? Okay, we could be in trouble.
I fell asleep during that part. I was watching semi-trucks going by the
window. We may be making a clock face.
I was counting wheels at the time. Yeah. I saw one semi. It had something like 27, no, not 27, 26 wheels on it. Well, 27 I had a spare.
Okay, we need to raise our tool. I've got these marked.
Oh, I see. Down there?
Yep, got them marked so that I can get to them really fast. I'm into speed. And hollowing this out is just like hollowing any normal bowl. Probably more critical is that we keep enough substance in the bottom of the bowl so that we have support when we're turning out these wings. I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom. I'm working my way out to the edge so that I can determine my wall thickness.
Okay. So you're not going to go all the way to depth yet.
No, not yet.
You're just going to go in about an inch, inch and a half to work your way out.
That's correct. I need the support and mass that center is going to provide for me. I think one thing that cannot be overly emphasized is the importance of starting precisely and then pushing the gouge.
Right, so you're orienting the tip just right. And actually the bevel's aiming the direction you want to go.
Actually, that's a universal principle of wood turning. I tell my students all the time, which direction is the bevel pointing? Because that's where the tool's going to go. And as you can see, I'll stop here in a second and we'll see that we're already starting to form a wall thickness, albeit too thick.
A thick wall thickness?
A thick wall thickness, so you see?
Yeah.
And the idea is that we're going to have these two sides parallel, but it's going to be about that thick.
Okay. Cool.
Okay?
Well, let's keep digging away at it and we'll finish it up. Well, Larry, you did a really nice job. I love that edge. It's nice and thin. Now, you want to make the bottom completely smooth and round, don't you?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And how do we do that?
Well, this is where the wonderful vacuum pump comes into work.
All right. I've been waiting to see this.
Now, we're not limited to creating a foot or anything like that. We can go with the bottomless bowl.
That's cool.
Okay, and the vacuum pump is perfect for that. What we're going to do is we're going to put this piece of wood here. Remember when we put it between centers? Well, we've got a mark for centering here.
Okay.
Well, we're going to bring our tailstock up. That's going to help center the piece on the lathe. It's going to. There we go.
Okay.
And we're going to just put just a slight amount of pressure. I'm going to move over here to my pump and turn it on and just test vacuum pressure.
Now walk me back here. That device is one of these devices.
That's exactly right.
It's a cup, and they come in different
sizes.
This
is for men, Tim.
Oh, okay. I like it. And it's got a rubber edge to it,
gasket.
So the air won't slip by.
That's
right?
exactly. It's a closed cell gasket that seals against the wood to create a vacuum. What you're doing is you're evacuating atmosphere, and in essence, you're pushing the bowl. People think with a vacuum you're sucking.
Right.
You're not sucking. Actually, what's happening when you evacuate atmosphere from here, it's pushing the bowl.
Oh, because the pressure is going this way.
Yeah, that pressure's higher over here, and it's low pressure in the drum.
And to start off, there are many different ways you can put together a vacuum pump system.
Oh, a ton of them.
And what you did is you actually searched the web and got a lot of information off of that. So that's probably our best suggestion. Get on the web, do a search for vacuum pump and wood turning, and you'll probably figure out how to make one of these pretty easily.
Totally.
Right? So we're going from here, and this is a bearing system, so
that's
that
correct.
can turn, right?
So that the lathe can continue to turn around while I turn this loose, continue to go around. Meanwhile, we maintain vacuum back to the pump.
Okay, so this goes down through a gauge.
Right.
And the gauge tells you?
Well, what the gauge does is helps me regulate if A, I've lost vacuum, or I'm losing vacuum, or B, if I've got too much vacuum, because it is possible to collapse. And by the way, we may have some issues with this because it is a rather thin-walled bowl, and so you get so much pressure you could literally collapse the bowl.
You told me earlier you had a bowl before when you had it on there, you could adjust it and you saw the bottom go in
That's exactly
and out,
right.
in and out.
That's
so
exactly like a
That's
drum.
really cool. Well, so okay, we followed through here and we really can't see it too well, but down here you have the pump.
That's correct.
And it is a vacuum pump, and they are normally used for what?
Well, they're used in clinical work, labs, chemistry. They're also used in copiers. High-end copiers use vacuum to lift paper.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so there's a multitude of uses for a vacuum pump.
So let's start up and see how it goes.
Let's just see let's see, first of all, let's test the vacuum.
Okay.
We leave it open so that we don't collapse the drum.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have no vacuum yet. We start closing off the vacuum, and you see the vacuum start to build.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, Tim, now it's time for the magic.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull the tailstock away, and look at that.
Man.
It's still there.
Wow.
Now tug on that.
Holy cow, that's strong.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I can feel air coming through it too.
That's how porous that wood is.
Oh, neat.
And if you can see the gauge up there, you'll see how that vacuum just picks right on up when we plug it up.
Oh man, that was wild. That's cool. But this is enough suction to hold it, right?
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
is cool.
Now we're going to turn the bottom.
Okay.
I'm going to move this tailstock out of the way, and I'm going to cut away the bottom. Now we're going to go with a bottomless bowl, right?
Yeah.
A bottomless
nice and
bowl.
round.
So we're going to go round.
Just like our heads.
Tim, speak for yourself. Okay, we still want to check to make sure we're not fouling the tool rest.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to cut that away. But understand that what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut by pushing in, because I don't want to take any chances of levering that piece of wood off the gouge.
Oh, so you're pushing
in
against with the pressure that's holding it on.
Exactly. I could have gone around this way, but I ran the risk of pulling the piece off. Now, if you notice, I'm going to leave that center point just in case. If something comes off, I can always recenter the piece.
Oh, okay.
And I'll cut the center piece away last.
I would think you'd be up a creek if you didn't have a center mark.
That's exactly right. I'd have a hard time finding that center, particularly on something that is shaped like this, where it's not exactly, I don't exactly have concentric
rings to follow too. And as you do this too, even though it's somewhat dried out, it is still a wet piece of wood technically, so it's still shifting.
That's correct.
So it's going a little oval on you while you're turning.
That's exactly. In fact, I can already see how this gouge is jumping. It's already gone oval.
Okay.
We've relieved a lot of wood. Now we know that from our measurements that we should have somewhere around 1/4 of an inch when we're through. And so we're going to stop and inspect before we cut away our center point. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think we're pretty close. I'm going to just blend that curve around just a hair more. And we're going to go in for the cut.
Okay.
I'm going to go to a smaller gouge here so I can get in. Still a bowl gouge, but I'm going to go for a smaller one. I'm going to cut away that point. Tim, we're at the point of no return. Okay, and so
that is
there
so
we go.
cool.
We have a bottomless bowl.
Oh, Larry, I really appreciate you taking the time to show us how to use a vacuum chuck and let us look at your shop too, which is still really pretty cool. But this is awesome. This is a neat technique to use, and it might cost a little bit to make it. You know, a couple $100 probably if you do it right.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, okay. But it's still something we haven't done before, and I really like it. It's an excellent method for rechucking a lot of different types of work, right?
Correct. You can hold just about anything
Yeah.
and do all kinds of nice treatment with the bottom of the foot, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, that's great. Well, Larry, I really appreciate it. Thank
Come back
you.
again.
Okay.
And don't try to surprise me, okay?
I won't. Well, until the next time on the Wood Turning Workshop,
Keep turning. And turning.
And turning.
And turning.
You think anybody knows that we're bald if we wear these things?
Nah, not at all. There's no clue at all whatsoever. Just the fact that we don't have any hair doesn't mean we're bald.
No. I think it'd be pretty cool if we wear these.
My wife thinks I'm weird.
Might set a whole new standard of style.
Well, she's learning to like it.
Yeah?
Yep. It's really
Huh.
kind of hard to cut my hair.
How do you run your fingers through the grain, though? show us several different ways to take full advantage. 3, 2, 1.
Wait a minute. The dogs are loud.
I think your pack out there is upset with me. You made a beautifully organized. I don't know why I say beautiful. It's a man shop. I always say beautiful. Men don't say beautiful.
To purchase a DVD copy of this program, please call 800-823-7210. For more information about Woodturning Workshop, visit our website, rsupublictv.org.
This week on the Woodturning Workshop, my buddy Larry Elizondo is going to show us how to make natural edge bowls. So you just stay a little bit proud of it. You don't go right up against
Same distance all the way around.
And actually the bevel's aiming the direction you want to go. So until the next time on the Woodturning Workshop, keep turning.
And turning.
And turning.
And turning.
You think anybody knows that we're bald if we wear these things?
No.